February 12th, 2024. I am Connor with Honor, local agent here in Santa Clarita Valley. This is what's going on in real estate this last week. We will have our update show on Wednesday for Valencia and Stevenson Ranch specifically. So look forward to that. You can find that at connorwithhonor.com. And of course, you can find me on YouTube under the same name. And then moving into Friday, we will be putting up another video talking about the open houses that are going to be occurring this weekend that are coming up and the best way to access those resources. So let's talk about that local real estate inventory. Currently in the Santa Clarita Valley, 271 units on the market for sale units, meaning single family residences, condominiums, and townhomes. Of those, there are some that are coming soon. That's 14. 14 of those properties are yet to be released onto the active market. However, you can get access to those through your local agent. So if you are a real estate buyer looking to purchase real estate at this time, as we break into February, we're kind of in the middle now, but as we get into March, people are going to start moving. We just finished up with the Super Bowl. Sad to say, I didn't even watch. Sorry about that. But I have other things to do for my real estate clients, trying to sell their listings and represent my buyers. So that definitely takes priority over football, at least in my world. Apologize for that, but I'm going to throw that out there. All right, let's look at this real estate inventory. Out of the 271 homes, like I said, 14 are coming soon. Agents get a 21-day period of time to be able to market and advertise listings prior to them coming on the market. For you to see those, you have to be attached to a local agent, and most of them are going to be able to give you those listings, send them to you so you can see what's happening in that realm. Also, if you want to see any of those listings prior to them coming onto the active market, might be able to do so, but you're going to have to check with your agent. They'll have to run some interference and find out what's happening. As far as real estate headlines go, in the world, what I did is I pulled down some information. So if you look at our local market, we actually have an increase in January from December of last year. We do have those active listings have increased about 12%. We were about the 220s, 230s for quite a while over the holidays. That's not shocking, and that is typical real estate workings. Every year when we get into the holiday season, the market starts slowing down. I was talking with Brian Kelly, one of my home inspectors, at a home inspection this last week, and he had that same information. He works with a lot of real estate agents, and a lot of them are very worried about the world of real estate and how that's going to impact their livelihood. And as I told him, as he reiterated to me, when he talks to these people, it's really about your value. You need to produce things that people want to see, want to hear, and want to learn about that local market. And I take my business very seriously as Connor with Honor here in Santa Clarita, and I approach all of my clients from an educational standpoint. If I can show you what's happening in the market, what's going on in real estate, you make better decisions. And then hopefully when you make more decisions, you'll call me up and say, hey, Connor, I want you to be by my side, be my partner in this thing so we can move forward, either sell this house, buy a house for us, whatever it may be, but you'll be there for me. So as far as that, we have that 12% increase. We see prices relatively steady, but again, we just came through the holidays. So we're going to really find out in these next 3 or 4 months as we break into the summertime. School's going to be out here in Santa Clarita Valley. People are going to start jockeying for position. Those people that have kids that maybe have graduated, maybe they're going to rethink their lives and say, you know what, our kids are graduated, they're off to school next semester. Maybe we'll just liquidate everything and jump ship and travel for the rest of our lives. If you're set up that way, good for you. A lot of us aren't, so we're going to be sitting here still working in the trenches, but have a great time. But that's going to be that thought process. Maybe people want to downsize. Maybe they just have too much house. The issues are going to come in with the interest rate, and you've heard this. The interest rates right now, depending on credit, depending on a lot of factors, are somewhere around 6. I've heard some quotes at high 5s. I've heard some quotes at low 7s. It's going to depend on the lender, on your FICO scores, your credit profile. A lot of different factors, depends on what kind of interest rate you're going to get. But as far as that big reduction in interest rate that people have been talking about, hoping for, that hasn't occurred yet. I will keep you posted on that front. And is it going to? We'll have to watch, because they're doing a lot of changes now. This election this year is going to be a lot different than elections we've had before. And I'll throw it out there, yes, probably because of a lot of fake information that's going to be produced and put online. So watch out for your source. And again, right now, we can kind of identify that you may have seen of people saying certain things and you know it's not. Well, you want to believe it's not them. And you can see little glitches maybe around their mouths when they speak. Maybe the sound quality as far as their voice doesn't really match up with the person. But ladies and gentlemen, and whomever, let me tell you this. Be careful, be wary what you see online, because a lot of the information that we're going to start seeing here, especially this year and next year and even more, are going to be things called deep fakes. It's going to be fake information. When you're talking to somebody face to face, that person is typically, you're judging them. And it's the information they're giving you because you're face to face or because you know they might not be trusted as much as you might trust the machine, the computer, the whatever you want to call it that you're searching on. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, and other people, make sure that you understand that the information you're reading isn't always accurate. And yes, sometimes the systems they put in place mislead on purpose. Sometimes they're engineered that way. Or sometimes, as we've seen in the artificial intelligence world, things are made up. Watch out for all of that information. Verify what you're watching, what you're reading, and when it comes to making a buying or selling decision in real estate, you'll really want to do your due diligence and follow up. I can show you where to look for different information so you know what is true. Now, as far as the selling rate goes, we have seen that our days on market timeframes were increased over the holidays, but they're on their way to start to reduce again. Here in Santa Clarita Valley, we have the cities of Canyon Country, Castaic, Newhall, Saugus, Stevenson Ranch, and Valencia. We can also look, and I make part of my search daily, Acton and Agua Dulce as well. So all of those cities, very little inventory, but we have started to see that increase because now, like I said, we're through the holidays, through the Super Bowl, and now we're regular operational procedure. We have Ash Wednesday this Wednesday, so that's going to start. But again, people are starting to kind of look there. When you're searching online a couple different ways, let me throw this at you before I get into the rest of the news. When you're searching these mega real estate websites, understand that any information you give them, any personal or private information, is going to be sold. And that information goes to people that are paying for it. Me, myself, don't play into that game. A lot of agents do. They pay big money to get your information because I guess they don't want to follow up with the people they know or the people they sold homes to. Maybe there's something bad there. Maybe they just don't want to do it. But that's how I market myself and get my business. Put it out here online, but I also send these update videos to all the clients that I've ever worked with so that they then understand where their market is. And hopefully when somebody in their world wants to sell or buy something, they say, hey, you know what, this Connor with Honor Cat that we used is great, did a good job. So they refer me. That's the best way to procure business, I still believe, besides faking people out and playing those games. Me, don't like it, don't agree with it. It goes against my stance. All right, so as far as the prices being high is relative because that's what people are paying for property. Here in Santa Clarita Valley, Greater Los Angeles, I see those prices continuing to increase a little bit. But again, that's because we have the supply and demand, and we have an imbalanced market currently where we have sellers and more buyers than sellers. So we do have a supply and demand. Housing inventory is low because the sellers are currently wearing the golden handcuffs we talk about. And that's because golden handcuffs is going to be reflective of their interest rate. They're at a very low rate right now. So for them to want to move, it's going to cost them sacrificing that low, maybe 2 or 3% interest rate to buy something else. And then even with buying down rates and all the fancy stuff that lenders can do to maybe try to reduce the interest rate to get to 2, it's going to be impossible or very, very costly if in fact that's even possible. That's what people are looking at. That's why they're sitting tight. They're not moving, and they're hoping something's going to happen in the interest rate realm so they'll be able to move and maybe break even. One of the things that's being talked about online, a couple different things. You have startups that are saying that they're going to be able to have people finance interest rates at very low rates, 2 and 3%. Haven't seen that actually come to fruition. But if it does, if you're hearing that and people are sending information on it, just be wary. Like we have these that say that they can sell your house faster than anybody, and they're able to sell it in such a way that it creates less inconvenience than listing with a normal real estate agent. Find out their numbers. At the end of the day, what are they going to be selling your home for? Is it a fire sale situation? Are they going to make it a fire sale situation? Meaning, are they going to basically your house is in shambles and they're going to put it at a super low price just because they can sell it fast and because that's kind of the terms agreement? Or would you be better off using somebody that's full service, that understands the value in the local market, has all those network connections with other agents? Besides the other agents, though, is also delve deep into the community so they know that this person has good real estate that they sell, good listings that they sell, and they make those connections. Depends on what side you're on, but typically those numbers are going to be a lot higher that that local expert can get you, besides these sites that tout that you're not going to be inconvenienced. A little bit of inconvenience for me is worth money. And it depends on the amount, of course. If I'm going to be inconvenienced over a dollar, maybe not worth it. But if we're talking 20 and 30 and 50, 60, $80,000, like I've seen differences, and I've had people follow up with me, they've gone to these sites that say that they're going to be able to sell your real estate with less hassle for at a bigger discount on commission, but it ends up the sellers are taking a lot, tens of thousands of dollars less than they would have been able to get if they would have used that agent, even with paying all the costs associated with hiring a full service real estate agent. Even with all those costs in place, they were still better off selling with that neighborhood expert versus these hack sites out there, people that are trying to sell your property for nothing. In the world, folks, we rarely get something for nothing. Usually there is a cost to be paid. But you, as a home seller, and even a home buyer now, because home buyers in some circumstances and markets are being tasked with paying their professional that they're using to purchase real estate, they're now having to front that bill because sellers now are deciding that, you know what, we're not going to pay that other agent. They'll pay the agent that they hire to advertise and market their home all day long, but then on the buyer end of it, they usually had picked up that fee for the agent that the buyer chose to represent them in the purchase of real estate. Well, now that's changed because some lawsuits that have come out and some other legal matters that have approached the National Association of Realtors. That's something to definitely watch, but as it is, it's still very important to find that local expert talking about the market. All right, so let's move into a couple other things. Now, we do see a few more options with this extra inventory for home buyers coming available in our local market, but in order to really move on those properties, you have to do yourselves a favor. You have to be pre-approved. You have to have spoken with a real estate lender, be it your bank, lenders that I know, mortgage brokers, a credit union, somebody that you're able to sit down and talk with and find out where your financial ability is going to take you when it comes to purchasing real estate, well, borrowing money to purchase real estate. So you go to your lender, whomever it may be, and they're going to ask you to give them a lot of information, a lot of paperwork. And basically what I would do, and I tell my buyers this as well, you set up a file on your desktop or on your laptop or whatever you use. Set up a file so whatever documents they ask for, you make copies of those, because some of them aren't easy to get, especially if you have a real employer, a real job out there, and you have to go to somebody at your job. And I'm very, very used to working with military and police, trying to get those documents from those powers that be are sometimes difficult. Once you get those, though, you're going to want to store them in a folder somewhere so you can have copies of them, and this is why. Your lender's going to ask for a lot. You give them the information, but if you don't save copies of those things yourselves or hold on to those in one central place, maybe you have a falling out with them. Maybe you want to get a second opinion on what those charges are. You have it already. It's very easy to send it to somebody else, say, hey, what do you think? I'm getting here. What do you think over here? And folks, the way the world works, it's really good to get that second opinion. And people are hate me, especially in my world. It's good to get a second opinion in real estate. If you're hiring that agent, you see bells and whistles, you're all excited about working with me. Still, find out somebody else. Are they high pressure? Are they talking to you like you're a child? Are they talking to you like you're an equal? Are they giving you information from an educational standpoint, trying just to bring you up to speed? Have a when you go out to home inspections, you find a lot out about your real estate agent. And I've watched other agents at home inspections work with their clients. A lot of times, if I'm representing the seller, I'm not there for the buyer's home inspection. And I also, most of the time, don't want my sellers there as well because I want them to feel free, feel unobstructed. I want them to be able to look at everything, touch, and ask all the questions. Sometimes, when you have the other side of the equation, in that home inspection, it creates a problem because then the home inspector is going to say there's something wrong with this, or maybe something that the seller can't flip a switch or show them how to turn it on, something bigger than that. Then a lot of times the sellers get defensive. And even their agent gets defensive. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Why are you putting that down? It's not a problem. We could, and things like that creates an issue. So it's best when those happen unobstructed by any other party being there. You're there with all of those that you know in tow, of course, your home inspector and those other people. But you find out a lot about your agent because when the home inspector brings information and starts to do that dissertation at the very end of the inspection report, which they should, after they've done the home inspection of the house, they should come out and they should explain to you what they found in the property. When they do, then you have a chance for maybe them to take you around and say, hey, this is here. Let me show you this out here. This is what this means. You're going to see it in the report. And there's going to be a lot of other information contained in that report. Also, probably things that they didn't bring to the front in front of everybody because they're not as heavy as some of the other items they found. The other items could be chip paint or maybe a crack outside in the sidewalk coming up to the house. Small things like that. Big items, well, there's some growth that we don't know what it is. We see some coming in through the underside of the ceiling. Looks like an active leak or a non-active leak. They've had a leak here. Looks like there's excessive moisture contained in this wall. Looks like we have some mold here, some other issues here. Those are big items. Electrical panel needs this or that. Those are those big ticket items. Those are those things. Although real estate is sold as is out here, this is kind of when you see your agents made of. Are they going to, in the repair request that's going to be put together typically, what is your agent, what's their thought process? Are they going to mention everything? Are they going to mention just the big items? And then how does that feel for you? In some cases, some of those items, paint, carpet, yeah, we saw that. It's the unknown stuff. It's the unknown stuff about maybe the breaker box being something that is very substandard, causing a safety issue. Maybe there's asbestos in the property. Maybe the roof needs replacement. Maybe the land needs to be graded away from the home because they have a lot of standing water. These are all very important factors, and really when you're looking at the house with the home inspector and your agent with you, that's when you see things really as they are. So after that point, if you've lost all faith in your agent getting out of that transaction, that's something that you'll definitely want to figure out how to do if in fact you don't want to proceed with the purchase of whatever you want to purchase. And again, understanding that that it could be too late for you to cancel without having some kind of financial harm come your way. Just know where you are in the process. There are agents out there, just like in any other industry, that aren't as upfront and honest as others. You'll be able to figure it out soon enough. Just make sure that you ask the right questions. Now, one of the other things that I will talk about here as far as what's going on in the real estate news, something when people are buying real estate, that 30-year mortgage, that fixed 30-year mortgage is very common that people talk about. There are other lengths of time for mortgages. You can get potentially maybe a better rate if you go to a 15-year, but it's going to depend on your credit profile and also if you have the wherewithal to make that higher payment because your mortgage will be paid off in 15 years besides 30. There's another loan program out there called adjustable rate mortgages. Watch out for anything that's not a fixed rate mortgage because then adjustable rate mortgages, well, they adjust. So it depends on, you might go in and your payment might be cheap for the first year, but after that, depending on how it's structured, is going to depend on how much and how often that amount increases in your payment because it's an adjustable rate mortgage. Can it come down? Sure. But most times when they're selling an adjustable rate product, it's kind of at the bottom of where they believe it is. So it's always going to go up. Watch out for that. Make sure you know what those numbers are, and also make sure you know your total cost of moving in. What kind of check are you going to be writing to buy this house? And I understand you're getting a loan for it, but there are other costs as a real estate buyer you have to pay. Those are called closing costs. And in a perfect world, we would try to get somebody else to pay that. But in a highly competitive market that has not very many sellers, but more buyers, a lot of times other buyers don't need to ask for closing costs. So when you submit an offer asking for closing costs, the other buyer submits an offer not asking for closing costs, but in the same amount, usually they're going to look at this buyer a lot more as being a lot more better for them because they're not asking for the closing costs. Now, in a perfect world, they'll counter both back and maybe counter this one in a specific way and maybe counter this buyer that's asking for closing costs in a different way, asking them to not ask for closing costs, or the seller won't be paying closing costs to see if they're still in. At the end of the day, you want to just look at everything that you're filling out, writing, and understand how things are structured. Now, when you're out there searching for real estate, just do this. Make sure that the systems that you're using to search are updated frequently. You're going to know sites like Zillow and Truly and Redfin. They all do a very good job at keeping updated. They're great. I just wouldn't share any of your personal private information with them. And if you want to really see it right, go to that local agent. If you don't have one, hit me up and I will send you those active listings as soon as they hit the market. I have the direct feed from the local board of realtors, Southland Regional for Greater Los Angeles, that will show everything that's active, everything coming on the market, so you'll be able to see it first. I'm Connor with Honor. Hit me up. That's it for today's show. We have a very exciting market here in Santa Clarita Valley. We have more listings being added. We do see listing numbers increasing. Like I said, I brought up 12%. That's from back in December. We see and continue to watch the market grow and develop. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can hit me up anytime. You'll find me at connorwithhonor.com. Thank you so much for watching. Be well, and we'll see you Wednesday. And then also Friday. Wednesday is going to be our Stevens Ranch Valencia update. Those are our two hottest markets here in Santa Clarita Valley. So I want to talk to those sellers and those buyers out there that are in those areas or interested in those areas so they can best be protected. And I will talk to you soon. Be well. Take care.